the significance why we hold a week for awareness and so on. From something I gathered, I will share a few points, and of course, we'll be developing. We have the paper presenters and the discussion. Then we will get to know each other's view. Maybe we'll be enlightened, and we can also develop our own values, attitudes regarding what is vigilance all about, in the what cost we are speaking this, and then taking a stand also in our personal life and professional life. From my little reading, I came to have a sense of, in a way, justice and purpose in our life and work. We have also, someone else will be highlighting, I'm sure, we have the Central Vigilance Commission, its work and the pledge, what it stands for. In brief, if we highlight, I think the one idea is the pledge goes something like this. I realize that every citizen should be vigilant and commit to highest standards of honesty and integrity at all times and support the fight against corruption. This is the whole idea about we are all called to be, and the Vigilance Commission that works for, and we are all called to take this pledge also. The Vigilance Awareness Week 2020, they highlight one point. I would like to highlight what I read from the writing given, is the corruption in daily life is linked to human greediness. Corruption is a reality. We have accepted this as this is a fact of the day. So when we are supposed to fight, and we are silently in a way accepting and complying with it, sometimes we become even accomplices to the corruption. Therefore, corruption in all places, especially in our public life, personal life, all this we have to be aware of in the first place if we have to fight against it, if we have to remove that or bring about a change and transformation. And so we are called to be aware of in the first place how corruption get integrated or even perpetuated into systems, into our own life, and even in our attitudes and mindset, which becomes almost like a disease, sickness. Then the purpose of, to conclude, I will not take much time because we have the presenters and the paper presenters who are well prepared and they will enlighten us. The purpose of Vigilance Awareness Week is to create awareness in the public and at large about the ill effect of corruption. That's what I was telling prior to this one also. So we are called to hold this week with the different activities, maybe a webinar, discussion, write up, maybe a short article. All this will work together and work it up and present it. We will upload it and present it in our website. The website of the NCT. There is a provision portal for that one, and we will be doing that one. So a collective responsibility we have given to both the batches also. Junior batch will work certain activities of their own. Now you senior batches are part of this our effort to understand together, bring out some credible, good insights and write up, and which we own up on our contribution. Thank you. With this I conclude, and have a good time, and we'll be together to learn from each other and giving time to each other. Have a good day. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Father, for laying the foundation for the thought of corruption. And maybe we, the students, will be able to do something in order to help in removing corruption. The second part, we start with interactive talk. And after each speaker speaks, it is a request for all the students to, you can ask questions, or you can give your point of view based on the points which were given. So our first speaker, I invite Dr. Tomina N.S., HOD, Department of Teacher Education, to give her talk. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Father. I was just listening very keenly about what Father is speaking about Vigilant India, Satark Bharat, Samriddh Bharat, the theme of the year, which means Vigilant India, Prosperous India. Now, what is this? Why do we need a Vigilance Week? The first question is that, why do we need, if everyone is corruptless, if everyone is aware of the situation? Now we are in such a crisis situation, and still we have to be aware of the of the situation that we need to be free of corruption. From where did this word come? That first, why there is a need to observe a week of vigilance week? We call it a vigilance week. The thing is that, every year, according to a recent survey in 2005, it is noticed that 92% of Indians are victims of corruption. 92%. Now, why it is so? Because everyone wants to get their work done in no time. And the officials, they don't want to work they don't want to do anything without giving a bribe, whether it is above the table or under the table. You have to give a lifafa. Without that, your work is not done. It is hanged. Every time you go to university, you go to a government office, you go to any other office. I'm not even in public sector also it is practiced, even private sector it is practiced. But more of if you go to Babu culture, everyone will ask you directly or indirectly, they will ask you to pay something. For example, I can just quote you one example. Once I went to one of the government office for getting a work done. And then in the beginning itself, they have told me, if I take a printout for you, for your purpose, then you have to get me a set of papers, because I'm spending this paper for you. But first I agreed because I wanted my work to be done. Then once the work was done, I said, why should I do it? Because you are paid for that. Government is paying you for the work you are doing, and government is providing all the facilities for you in your office. Now, if you are firm enough, and if you say no, if we start saying no, then I am sure within no time this corruption we can come over this situation. Now, let's see. Why do we need this week to be observed? That's because to encourage the stakeholders collectively to participate in the prevention and fight against corruption. How much are we? Now, today, according to the request of the NCT and the Government of India, the college, we are doing it together. Then once the webinar is over, we just forget. Actually, that is what happens. We go for rallies, we raise slogans, we write up, we make a lot of write-up, and we publish it. All those things are there. But are we really practicing it? We are aware of it. Yeah, I should not give a bribe to anyone. But are we really practicing it? That is where the question lies. Are we practicing it when we want it? You go to right to public service laws. Anti-corruption laws in India, if any government servant is caught in getting bribery or taking bribery, there are laws, rules and regulations for to put them behind bars. According to Indian Penal Code 1860, then Prosecution Section of Income Tax 1961, Prevention of Corruption Act in 1988, then Benami Transactions Provision Act in 1988, then Prevention of Money Laundering Act in 2002. That's the latest one, 2002. Then civic anti-corruption organizations. We also have the first one was according to the government. Now the word I'm going to tell you is that anti-corruption organizations, civic. Okay, Bharat Swabhiman Trust, which was set up by Baba Ramdev. Bharat Swabhiman Trust. Then 0 rupee note. Another one was the fifth pillar of the thing is 0 rupee note. You please ask me. I'll tell you what it is. Okay. Then also India Against Corruption. A popular movement was set up by Arvind Kejriwal, the Chief Minister of Delhi. Then Kiran Bedi. Then Anna Hazare. You must have heard of these names. Kiran Bedi, Anna Hazare. I'm sure you're aware of. And they went. That was an Aam Aadmi Party movement followers. They started this at Jan Tantra Morcha. It was established as a Jan Tantra Morcha. Then Jagore. It was all done by civic anti-corruption movement. Okay, Jagore. 1 billion vote was an organization founded by Tata and Janagraha to increase youth vote registration. Another one is Lok Satta movement, which was a fulfilled party by Lok Satta party. And also we have factors contributing to. Let's see what are the factors contributing to corruption in India. Now, why there is a corruption. That's a question. If there is corruption, there are factors behind it. Greed for money, first one. Second one, higher level of market and political monopolization, political monopoly. Low levels of democracy, weak civil participation, and also low political transparency. We say no, we have corrupted politicians. That is because of low political transparency. Then higher level of bureaucracy and inefficient administrative structures, which means there is no transparency at all. Then low press freedom. You must have seen the other day some of the journalists were arrested and all. Low press freedom. And low economic freedom, which means the money is accumulated in one hand, one or two hands. It is not distributed properly. Then high taxes and excessive regulation bureaucracy as a major cause. High taxes and excessive regulation. The lack of transparency allows room for both demanders and suppliers for corruption. Now, impact of corruption, loss of credibility, economic loss, wasted taxpayer funds, loss of goods and services, lower community confidence in public authorities, and disadvantage to honest business and miss out on government contracts. So there are so many reasons why corruption is increasing day by day. It is not just one day we observe the week and gone. No, corruption still is increasing because we are also one reason why, because we don't raise our voice against corruption. We just keep quiet because we want our work to be done. And the market, there is no much competition in the market because it is all according to the monopoly it goes on. Like as I told you, higher levels of market and political monopoly. When there is a monopoly, there is a high chance of corruption as well. Because in the movies you are seeing some of the gundas and goons, they are the kings of one place. It's the same thing practiced in our country also, because as I told you, in 2005, according to a survey, 92% of the people, Indian population, are victims of corruption. We give money in some way or the other. For example, admissions in colleges. When we were doing our M.Ed and PhD and all, we have seen students, they don't even know that directly they can go and get, if they have come under a merit list, then they get a free seat or almost a free seat. But there are agents who just try to grab money and manipulate the entire system. So why do we have to give in? Why don't, as educated people, why can't we raise our voice against corruption and say no to it? Like as I told you, zero note. Why this zero note system was created? Any babus who ask for a bribe, you give them a valueless note. That is what zero note indicate here. I think when the interaction comes, I can give more inputs. So thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, we will take questions at the end, I think.
I think, yeah, because we are running, I mean, we will need some time. So thank you, ma'am, for giving us, input into what is the different types of corruption and the laws which are formulated against corruption. And I'm sure, like many of us really learned a lot from that. Now, I think it'll be better if we take all the questions at the end of the three talk. And those who are putting the questions on the chat box, please write to whom the questions are being, you're asking to which speaker. So please mention the name of the speaker. Now, I would like to call upon the next speaker. So for the invited talk, Dr. Professor Sukarna Bhattacharjee. So ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, Father. Good morning, Madam HOD, and good morning, my colleagues and students. Today, I just want to say something. I think, am I audible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay. Okay. So, in this occasion, in this webinar, which is based on this Vigilance Awareness 2020, We know why we require vigilance, because to minimize the corruption, and the main thing is corruption and how to remove corruption. So if I ask what is the way out to remove corruption, the first thing is like law and orders are there, so many things are there, but other than this law, is there something others what we think, or instead of changing so many things where we say that this should be changed, that should be changed, is there any other way? So today I just want to talk, okay, how we can remove the corruption if we take a self vigilance. This is the role of ethics as a self vigilance to remove corruption. So for this, first we need to know what is a vigilance. So vigilance is it's like to keep a watchful eye, to observe the activities and to take a prompt action to promote these ethical principles, to ensure integrity and honesty. And now the question is why we need vigilance. First thing is to enhance the image of an organization and to promote a culture of honesty and integrity, then improve the productivity, then increase transparency and fairness, then protecting, the most important point, protecting the honest performers and disciplining the wrongdoers. Now, as I said, my main focus is on ethics, how it can help us to remove this corruption. So what is ethics? Ethics is a set of moral principles and values which governs the conduct of an individual or an organization. And what are morals? Morals are actually the values based on one's experience, impression, then opinions, belief systems. So now the thing is that why we need ethics. Before that, before we discuss about why we need ethics, first we should know what is corruption actually. From that point of view, corruption, it's a manifestation, it's an important manifestation of the absence of ethics. If you think very deeply, what is the root of corruption? When we involve in this activities, corruption, there is an absence of ethics. If there is no ethics, if you think ethically, if you are strong, you will not support the corruption, and definitely you will not involve in that. So for me, and in this context, it's actually corruption, it's an important manifestation of the absence of ethics. And what are the things may happen in this situation of corruption? Maybe it's misuse of power. It is one of the most important things, and it is noticeable in everywhere, this misuse of power. You know, in some cases it is very easy to achieve some powers in life, but equally it is very difficult to maintain this power. And maximum time, instead of using this power, use means when you use your power in a constructive way, and if you use the same power in a destructive way, it's become the misuse of power. So misuse of power and personal greed versus need, this is also another aspects of corruption. So what is personal greed? And on the opposite side, need is there. Personal greed, actually it is says God has given us everything to fulfill our need, but not to satisfy our greed. Okay, so if you have greed, there is no end. So many things, and greed maybe is for money, for status, for so many things. In the opposite side, need is there. Suppose one person, he or she is very eagerly there to satisfy their greed. So just to satisfy their greed, and as it is says, there is no end of this greed. So you definitely you will involve in any kind of corruption or illegal activities, because in a normal way it is not possible to satisfy all your greed. In the opposite direction, you will notice someone, he or she is not able to satisfy their basic needs. And if they notice someone, he or she is establishing his or her life just by following some illegal ways and all these things, so after sometimes that person who are in need, they may think like, okay, then that one is the best way. If they can follow, then why not me? So ultimately both the situation somehow they boosting to involve in some corrupted activities. And anything which it's more than your needs now, it's become a poison to our life. Someone asked Lord Buddha, okay, what is a poison? And Buddha replied, okay, anything which is more than your need, it's become a poison. Suppose for our good health, to maintain our good health, we require this 3-time meals. Okay, this is good for health. But if it is overeating the same food, it's become a poison. It's impact like every sleeping, normal sleeping, it is good for health. But if it is oversleeping, then the impact is negative. And you will notice another thing in corruption, the main root for corruption, it is insensitivity towards this personal ethics. When someone do anything illegal, the first effect is that insensitivity of their personal ethics. If you have some ethics, whatever we do, we can manage everyone, but it is very difficult to manage and to conceal the truth from our own self. We know maybe we are able to justify the things in a right way or wrong way, whatever, but before doing anything, is it right or wrong, we ourselves know. So the thing is that if you follow some principles, if you have some ethics, it will obviously put some limitation that you cannot do these things. This is not the right things. So this is the fact that corruption, the root of corruption, is insensitivity towards the personal ethics. And of course, the person who is doing some wrong works, this is a very bad thing, corruption. Another person who is supporting these things, maximum a few person are there, those who are doing these wrong things, and maximum number of persons are there, those who are supporting these things, or they are just conceal the things. It means we don't have the courage or lack of courage to protest against or to expose this corruption or to corrupt behavior. So obviously, if these things happen, the next will be like there will be lack of transparency. It will only be possible to maintain the transparency, and next it will come the lack of accountability. So these are the things you will notice in a corrupted situation, means some types of options. Now, how ethics can help us? What is the role of ethics? So ethics is like, see, law and order. Why I am asking about ethics, where law and orders are there. If you went for any government office or any other organization, maybe in the outside in a board, you may notice something. It is written, okay, demanding or accepting bribe is a punishable offense. But what is the reality inside the office? All of us know. So this is the things. We know the law and order, this and that, but fact is something else. And very simple thing, like this dowry system. This is also what things, no? It should not be. There's demanding and offering. But if you ask anyone, no, father of a girl, they themselves, in some cases, they themselves will give you the justification. Who told you? Okay, this is a bribe. We are giving our girl. This is just a gift. So somehow we are managing. This is another fact. So ultimately, the thing is that whatever the laws are there, whatever, and in case of if the father of a girl accept these things like this way, you cannot do anything by law also, because that person is accepting, okay, this is not a dowry, we are giving just a gift. Okay, so this is the things, and here we need to follow the ethics to improve that accountability, to improve the productive efficiency of an organization, and to enhance the integrity, to remove the corruption, and finally to maintain a better governance. So now, what are the ethical principles to maintain a good governance? Okay, some of these are like effective leadership. Okay, effective leadership, it's like Now we use the term leader. Okay, it's a common term, but the meaning is very difficult. And there is a balance. If you fail to maintain this balance, this leadership become bossism. There is a very little difference between big difference, but it is very difficult to maintain this balance between to maintain a leadership quality and to become a boss. If you fail to maintain that balance, your activities will become act of bossism. So leadership is leader. A leader is one who likes to work with others. Okay, and leadership is an effective leadership. We need unbiased leadership. Unbiased leadership. You are a leader. So if you are a leader, means of course you are working with others, so that others all are equal for you. But if these things happen that you are biased to someone, and if you are judging someone else by the opinion of others, this is not an act of unbiasedness. So effective leadership we require. Then competency. Competency, again, for anything, competency is very important things. Honesty and integrity. Communication. We need to maintain, for this good governance, we need to maintain a proper communication. And proper communication is not, okay, you want to communicate to me, then directly you can communicate. At least sometimes. It's not like every time you will get my opinion from someone else. So it may have some other impact. So we need to maintain a proper communication. And of course, we should give a great value to these moral values and honesty. So I will not say much. Later on, you will ask me questions. And so finally, I just say one thing. Okay, from that things we can say, okay, a single change must begin from the foundation of this ethics. And so we should inculcate the spirit of this integrity, this honesty, then accountability, to fight against the corruption. And as we know, the corruption, it has a very bad impact to the development of the nation. But instead of saying, okay, to remove the corruption, we should change this, we should change that. I think now it's time where we can start with a new thought, and we can say we should change where we want to change. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You brought a new aspect into your talk. You talked about ethics, and you brought a balance between greed, need, and use and misuse of our power. And you spoke about protecting the honest performers, which generally when we talk on this topic is always negative. Thank you so much for such a positive aspect and a different aspect to this topic. Now I call upon Pratima, a student of 3rd SEM, to give her presentation. So Pratima, it is over to you. Has Pratima joined?
Pratima, please put on your microphone.
Sorry. Respected Father Benny K. John, the Principal, Holy Cross College, Dr. Tomina Ennis, HOD, the Department of the Teacher Education, respected teachers and dear friends, good morning to all. I, Sister Pratima, on behalf of 3rd semester students, here to present views on vigilance. It is said, success is a journey, not a destination. It requires constant efforts, strong vigilance, and re-evaluation. We all of us know vigilance is the key to unlock the nation's progress. We are aware of the words vigilance, which says something to look intensely to come out better result. When we vigilant our own works or any common task, the result is better and we can avoid danger, misfortune, or any errors in life. We know that the Central Vigilance Commission on the Apex, as the apex anti-corruption body of the country was formed on 11 February 1964. Endeavors to promote integrity, transparency, and accountability in public life. The Commission has declared that this year the Vigilance Awareness Week would be observed from 27th October to 2nd of November 2020 with the theme Vigilant India, Prosperous India, Satark Bharat, Samrit Bharat, with the objectives to promote culture of honesty, integrity in public life. We too celebrate the birthday of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and he gives us an example who was a great contributor to the society. So we all of us are acquainted and of the word vigilance, and as a students, we realize that corruption is the major hindrance to the progress of the nation. All sections of the society to be vigilant in order to uphold the integrity in all aspects of our national life. We say that corruption is the main cause. So what is the corruption? The corruption has come from the Latin word corruptus, which means taking money from someone. Corruption is misuse of public power entrusted for the private gain. The corruption gravely hampers the economic development of the country, which creates inequality, poverty, social division, and environmental crisis. Here, the Central Vigilance Commission has declared to observe as Vigilance Week to spread awareness to find solutions to avoid corruption. So I would like to say which are the areas the corruption are seen mostly. We all of us are aware, and already we have heard the government and the public area, within the political system, judiciary system, education systems. These are the few I have taken as a collectively. The government and the public areas, we know all of us, we are facing a lot of challenges due to the corruptions. And political system, we know any job opportunities we had to really go through. And the judiciary system, due to the delay in judgment or the giving justice to the victims, we know the best example is Nirbhaya Delhi rape case. After 7 years, the justice has been done. All this shows that corruption in the judicial system, and which takes so long. And even the education system, we know the admissions, already it is been told, the admissions and during the examinations, malpractices, cheatings. And the best example is last month on 28th of October in Assam, a doctor and his son been arrested for using proxy to write JEE main exam, which was held in September, and the student or the child gets top rank, scoring 99.8% without sitting for the examination. So that shows that in education system also there is a corruption. The recruitment of the teachers and transfers, we know everywhere politics is involved. And if at all the teachers are sent to the schools, especially to the interior places, they are not willing to go, and therefore there is a hindrance or the teaching learning process. So I would like to say that what are the consequences due to these corruptions? I would like to focus the people, those are in the grassroots level, are mostly affected. Like poverty is seen, child labor, domestic violence are against, domestic violence are on top, and rises in literacy and dropouts. So these few things I would like to say that mostly the poor are affected. The rich and poor is already, there is a huge disparity. Okay, huge gap. The causes of corruptions, we all of us know that low pay scale and wages, lack of awareness on rights and duty of the citizens, unemployment, political power, weak administration, slow and delay in justice. So these are the few causes which leads to corruptions. We all of us want to live a healthy or luxurious life. So we want to gain money from different ways, like unhealthy ways. So all this and the lack of awareness of the rights. The poor people, especially, they do not know their rights. So when they go to the government officials, they are asked bribe. So without delay, they pay bribe because they need to, their work has to be done. Unemployment, we know the politics is involved everywhere. So many qualified students or the candidates are sitting because the criteria is not followed to recruit the candidate. Political involvement is everywhere. Weak administration, which leads to corruption in the society. Already I told slow and delay in justice. So number of cases, especially against women, is frequent because the decision is being taken very slow. So the people, those who want to harm the society, they are online. So it is said, eternal vigilance is the price of democracy. So in order to make the country corruption free and to head towards prosperity, we as an individual and as an organization need to keep vigil and make India corruption free by taking few steps. So which are the steps we can make India free or move towards prosperity? As Swami Vivekananda says, education is the instrument of social change. So it is rightly said that through education we can change the society. With the assistance of the value-based education, we can reduce the corruption. The education will create awareness to know the rights, and especially the poor will know how to get their work through the rights, not going to the government officials and paying them bribe. The second one is transparency and professional accountability. Already we have been heard and we know that if the government is transparent and responsible accountability in their service, they will not indulge themselves in dishonest work and misuse of their power. Rather, they will be accountability to the citizens and the country will be in progress. Then other one is effective actions against the corruptions. We know our government is slow. Any corruptions are being done in the society, the strict actions are not done, due to which the number of cases or number of tragedies or the issues are in the society. If the action is taken strictly, those who commit any kind of corruptions in the society, they will keep on watch. Then third, last one is increase of direct contact with the government and the governed. The e-government can help to reduce the increase of corruptions. The public should use the e-government to access to the information regarding the rights and avoid corruptions. So these are the few measures as a group I got it and I have presented. So at the end, I must say that let the eye of vigilance never be closed. Thank you.
Thank you, Pratima, for presenting the collective thoughts of your friends so well. And I'm sure you all have all thought a lot on vigilance, a lot on corruption. And we are looking forward to you to create a new world which will be totally corruption-free. Thank you again. Now I call upon Professor Sharajit Biswas for the next invited talk. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am, and visible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
And but
You're
not
audible.
visible.
No, you're visible also.
Yeah, okay, visible.
Yeah. So good morning, Dr. Father Beni, CSC Principal of Holy Cross College, Vice Principal, Dr. Father Saji, ML CSC, Dr. Tomina Ines, HOD, Department of Teacher Education, my colleagues, and all my dear trainees. In this year 2020, the theme of Vigilance Awareness Week is Satark Bharat, Samrid Bharat, means Vigilance India, Prosperous India. Now, how can we vigilant and prosperous in our India? So here the basic main theme is how to minimize the corruption and how to avoid ourselves, how to vigilance ourselves to minimize corruption. Because corruption is the malice which is eating into the very ethos of our society and taking a heavy toll on our economy. People lose trust and belief in the administration due to corruption. In pursuit of government's vision to make India new by the 2022, the Central Vigilance Commission and Apex Integrity Institution of India endeavor to promote integrity, transparency, and accountability in public living. Now, I'm going to discuss what is corruption. Corruption can include giving or accepting bribes or inappropriate gifts, double dealing under the table, transaction, manipulating selection, diverting funds, laundering money, and defrauding investors. Hence, corruption can happen anywhere, like in business, in government, the court, the media, in civil society, as well across all sectors from health and education to infrastructure and sports. So here, though Ma'am Tomina has mentioned various types of corruption, just I'm going to explain, I'm going to mention some types of corruption broadly. Means here, number one, administrative corruption. We can see in various administration, this corruption nowadays, we can see in India are happening. Though it may be in any institution, it may be in university, college, and education sector, it may be public sector, public administration, public office. So these kind of things are happening. And then next, political corruption. You can see it is the use of powers by government officials or their network contacts for illegitimate private gain. So, and next, grand corruption. What is grand corruption? It is defined as corruption occurring at the highest levels of government in a way that requires significant submission of the political, legal, and economical system. Such corruption we can find in the countries with authoritarian and dictatorial government. And next type of corruption we can see petty corruption. Petty corruption. What is petty corruption? When it occurs at a smaller scale and takes place as the implementation end of public service official meet public. Means, and for an example, I can say in many small places such as registration office, police station, state license board, and many other private and government sector. And last, I can explain the other types of corruption that is public. It is a big, it is a main important that we can see in everywhere nowadays. Public corruption includes corruption of the political process and government agency, such as corruption in process of allocation public funds for contracts, grants, or hiring. So this is the main. I wanted to mention the types of various types of corruption we can see. And now I'm going to discuss how to stop corruption. Yeah, it is a very important nowadays how to stop or how to control this corruption. Okay, the first point is end in impunity. We should effective law enforcement is essential to ensure the corrupt are punished and break the cycle of impunity or freedom free from punishment or loss. And here also I can say another reform public administration and finance management. Reform focusing on improving finance management and strengthening the role of auditing agency have in many countries achieved a greater impact than public sector reform on curbing corruption. Here, another point I can say promote transparency and access to information. Promote transaction. Under this point, I can say countries successful at curbing corruption have a long tradition of government openness, freedom of the press, transparency, and access to information. And next point I can explain, empower the citizen. This is the main important point under how to stop our corruption. Here, strengthening citizen demand for anti-corruption and empowering them to hold government accountable is sustainable approach that helps to build mutual trust between citizen and government. For an example, I can say in community monitoring initiatives have in some cases contributed to the detection of corruption, reduce linkage of funds, and improve the quality and quantity of public service. So this is made how to stop these corruptions. And just last, I want to give emphasis on my discussion, that is effect of corruption. Yeah, if we do not control this corruption, and if we do not know how to control this corruption, then this kind of things will happen. And I'm going to discuss under effect of corruption. That is, corruption erodes trust. Yes, because in public sector, publics will not trust to government, government will not trust to publics, and publics trust not to each other. So these kind of things are happening. And next, an important point is that weakness of democracy. Democracy also will destroy, will affect it for that. If you do not control, we do not stop these corruptions, and last is hamper economic in our country. Why? Because if the corruption will increase day by day, then what will happen? The economical structure, education structure, and so many types of structure will not uplift, will not develop. So this is the end points I wanted to mention, I wanted to explain. So thank you very much. Thank you, all of you. If you have any question, queries, then obviously in questionnaire you can ask. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. You spoke on the different areas of corruption and also what are the effects of corruption. And one suggestion which we got from you was empowering the citizens to hold the government accountable. One question per teacher and one question per student, so everyone will get a chance. So Sir Joy, is it okay if you read the questions out? Hello, Sir Joy.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can you read out? I think they put the questions in the chat box. Okay. So if you can read out, we'll have just 10 minutes, though we're running short of time. But you can take up one question from one student for one teacher first, in order, right from the beginning. So okay, we can have it in that way.
Ma'am Smita asked the questions to HOD ma'am. How to stop corruption in education sector? Ma'am, please.
Yeah, I'm there. Yes. What we can do to end corruption in education sector is enhancing the quality and efficiency of the people working there. And also there should be a legal stability of application of values and discipline and ethics. That is one thing. Secondly, improved monitoring system or transparency. There should be a transparency in whatever you do. Like, for example, you pay fee. Parents should have a fee receipt book with them, as well as one copy of it should be submitted to the school or college wherever it is possible, wherever it is required. Okay. Now, when one party is missing it, another party can demand more. So this kind of transparency will help that corruption is not taking place. Another thing is that strengthening the participation of parents and guardians in the process of admission system. As I told you, in the beginning, when you go for an admission somewhere in universities, there are agents, middlemen in between. And the students are not even aware that there is no need of any middleman to get an admission there. They just, to get a form itself, the middleman will ask you a big amount, which you are not able to afford. So what happens ultimately, the a candidate who is eligible to get the admission, they are deprived of it. Whereas the truth is not that. There is no need of bribing anybody. There is no need of giving any money to anyone. That's why this kind of transparency is very, very important. And entrance exams, you can have entrance exams and face-to-face interviews where it is said that you are selected or not. And you don't have to go for any kind of middleman or agent. So quantity, quality, and efficiency is one of the most important thing in any educational institution, and the values of discipline and ethics. Then participation of parents and guardians is very, very important. I think my question is clear. Answer is clear, I think.
Okay, ma'am.
Is it okay?
Next question.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes.
Next questions. Anirban asked to Sister Pratima. Sister Pratima have already told that
Thank you, ma'am.
in Assam, the son and doctor are arrested. Regarding this point, his question is, if we want to sit for an exam that are being held by government at the moment, how can we believe it?
I think, Joy, this question is to me. Yeah, this question is to me, I think.
No, ma'am. It is
It is
to Sister
Sister
Pratima.
Pratima.
Is it?
No, ma'am.
Yes,
It's,
Anirban, is this question for whom? This
Ma'am,
question
ma'am,
is for whom? Anirban?
ma'am,
It's to
hello.
me. Yes, it's to me. This question is to me because to HOD ma'am it is written. Yeah, I'll answer. See, what happens is when you go for an entrance exam, so far in our country, we don't have a system that whether the exam that is going to be conducted is fair or unfair, we do not know. That's one thing. Now, you talked about the proxy candidate. In order to stop this proxy candidate only, we have an admit card on which the candidate's photo is fixed. Okay. And that also, the passport size photo that you fix should be the recent one, not more than 6 months old. That is why the government or the institutions are very strict about the kind of photo that you fix on the admit card should be recent, they say. Otherwise, what happens if the photo is old, then you cannot make out the face. There is no clarity. Understood, na? And if anyone is sending a proxy candidate to write the exam in your place, that means either the officers there in the exam center are corrupted, okay, or else the photo that you have fixed is not very clear. There is no clarity in the photo. And after the exam, unless the person is caught, you do not know whether I was the one who gave the exam, or if I gave the exam in a right means and ways, or I did not use any unfair means to write the exam. There's no other way to know it unless you are caught. Is there anything else, Anirban?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Another question, sir, to Ma'am Tomina from
Yes.
Rohan Bhattacharya.
Yes.
Ma'am, what is 0 rupee note?
Yes, 0 rupee note. Very good question. Actually, when you go to the government offices, the babus ask you for bribe. Okay. So in order to stop that, you have there is a notes that is created as valueless note, like we call fake notes, no? Valueless notes, or on which there is no amount is written. Just create some design some valueless notes and give to them, which is useless for them. Got it, na? Valueless notes designed to be given to the corrupt officials, which cannot be used anywhere. Yeah. Is it okay, Rohan?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Sir Joy?
Next question to Ma'am Tomina from Amla
Yes.
Nathaji. Ma'am,
Yes.
as you say that the issue of misuse of power, so my question is, so his questions is, as so many official persons are giving the platform for giving bribe, so that's why the common people are giving bribe. So how we can overcome this situation?
Yes, there is.
No, ma'am, it is for to Ma'am Sukanna.
Oh, okay.
Ma'am Sukanna, please.
Yeah. So, the first of all, the very good question. It actually is related to 2 points I have discussed. It's like as they are doing because of this reason, okay, there is insensitivity towards their personal ethics, and in present situation we can't do anything, or we are adjusting with this situation is due to that one which I discussed, okay, lack of courage to protest against the corruption. So now the thing is that your question is that how we can overcome this situation. See, it is not possible, and there is no one day solution. Okay, you will do something because the present situation, as you say, is the common people they are giving. So the present situation is like that. In the queue of 50 persons, now only one Omlan is there who can't accept the situation, but maybe there are 48 who are adjusting with this. So it is not possible for you to alone take a prompt decision about this, and sometimes due to some circumstantial bindings you also may have to compromise with the situation. And that's why in the vigilance one thing is very important which I discussed, protecting the honest performer. But now the situation is that it's like majority must be granted, so majority people are accepting this situation. So sometimes you also have to accept the situation, but as you have raised the question, so I can take it, ethically you cannot accept the things, so at least you can wait and you can take the initiative. Okay, the day will come when the situation will be just opposite. For giving these things, number will be like 2% will be there for giving and 48 omlans will be there. So if that day will come now, everything we can change. And why I am saying, okay, we can do this. Here I just want one quote as Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam says, okay, if I see one nation completely free from corruption, there is the role of 3 key members: the father, the mothers, and the teachers. So as a teacher, or as we people, as future teacher, at least we can take these types of initiatives, that we can promote these types of ethical sensitivities to our child or to ourselves. Okay, maybe today we have to compromise with the situation, but this is not the end, and I must try to take the initiative to promote a ethical environment. And here it is not lacking from your side, it is actually lacking from their side, is their insensitivity towards personal ethics. Is it clear, Amlan?
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Next questions to Ma'am Tomina from Juron. Ma'am, we are practicing every year about vigilance, but also still people are going through nepotism to access in any organizations. So how and in what way we can take up? Ma'am Tomina, please.
Are you talking about the nepotism and all those kind of things?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In our country, we have a very efficient law system, okay, which is not practiced well. Why? Because many people are not even aware. How many of you are aware that you have a scholarship system? If you want to go for a PhD or any other studies, you get a grant and aid and stipend, and many of the students are not aware. Okay. Similarly, in our society, our country has established so many rules and regulations, put up so many rules and regulations for our. So people have to be legally aware of the laws that is put up by the government. Secondly, we have to trust the government. We have to trust the government. That's the only way left. We have to trust them. And also, the most important thing is that we have to use our voters' right. Do you know how to use a voters' right? Example, I can tell you. Every 5 years, you see Kerala gets a new government, a different party. If you are aware of it, okay. 5 years Marxist Party, 5 years Congress Party. These are the two parties mainly come in government. Okay. Now, why do we get a different government after 5 years? Because people are so much aware of their laws, their rights, their duties, all that. They raise their voice. We don't raise their voice. That is why we have to face a lot of nepotism and bribery and all kinds of corruption in the society. Raise your voice, use your awareness, and use the facilities being provided by the government. Otherwise, year after year, like so some states, they have a same government for so many years. It's nothing wrong. If the government is doing well, very good, let the government continue. But if the government is not doing well, if there is a faulty law system, if the people are practicing corruption, it is, as Sukanya ma'am added, we have to use our ethics. We have to, like only one Anirban is raising his voice. No, we have to protect the people, those who are whistleblowers. Okay, we have to protect the whistleblowers, and also we have the legal aid has to be given to the people. So use your voter right. That's the main thing. We are all voters, so we have to use it. At the time, if we don't use it, corruption will increase. So that's the only way. Like for example, recently one of the politician in Kerala, his son was caught in bribe, but so much in limelight. They are so much in news that they cannot look left and right. They are really caught. They have no way to escape. So if people are aware of it, they will raise their voice, and they have to trust the government and the legal system. I think the question is answered, Jiran.
Thank
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Next question to ma'am Sukonna from Shreya Mojumdar. Her question: when we taught a child or say something to do it, we offer some gift or chocolate for the completing this. How can we handle our children and taught what is wrong or what is right in corruption?
Okay, again, very good question. This is actually, we say, the incentive. If you complete this homework, I will offer you a chocolate. But make sure one thing, if you continue with these things, it's may become a bad habit for them. And the important thing is that you ask, we should start everything from our house. Yeah, everything. Charity begins from home first. So whatever we can do, we should start from our child. So if you, it's better if you don't go with this choice. If you complete these things, I will offer you. It is related to this. It's better if you don't do this, and if you do also, you give them the proper justification. I am giving you this chocolate. It's not like you have completed this one. That's why. Okay, you love or you like chocolates. That's why I am giving. And it's better if you don't follow these things. And everywhere some guidelines are given, so you just tell them, but behind this you just give them the proper justification. Suppose in any institution something is written, okay, this organization is under CCTV surveillance. So if we see these things, it is a very good thing for vigilance and all these things. But make sure one thing, and give this advice to your child also, okay, this camera is there to maintain the proper vigilance and all these things. But make sure one thing, we the person are the same when the camera is on and if the camera is off. So these are the guidelines we need to give our children. Okay, though these things are the laws are there, very initiatives are taken, everything is okay, but proper guidelines which you can develop their ethics. So offering chocolates and gifts, it's better if as a parents we don't follow these things. Means just for completing this homework, we are offering you chocolate. So gradually this will happen. Okay, they will do the things only for getting a chocolate. And this may hamper their actual purpose of learning the things. So if they learn the things, you just give them the proper justification, the homework you have to complete for learning the things. And chocolates, this is something different. Chocolate I will offer you because you like it. So this is not related to that one. Is it okay, Shreya?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am. Thank you.
ma'am, another question from Juron also.
Yeah.
This question, vigilance said about the discipline, but our great leader not maintained about the discipline. Presently in Bihar, so many publics gathering in this pandemic situations. So what is benefit of practicing the discipline?
Of this. Okay, again, the very good questions, and coincidentally, all of your questions supporting these things. Okay, we are directly or indirectly, we are supporting these things. Okay, in every cases, law is not enough. We need something more, no? So laws are there. Okay, gathering should not be there. This thing should not be there. We should wear mask, but practical situation is something else. And why this thing is happening? Lacking for something else, isn't it? Sufficient law is there. If you do these things, then camera is there, law is there, police protection is there, everything is there. Instead of that, everything is happening. So your question is supporting somehow this point. Okay, maybe if we have this kind of sensitivity towards our personal ethics, then there is no require of all these things. But if we are lacking from this personal ethics, whatever the law and orders are there, whatever the police protection, how many CC cameras are there, nothing is so much effective. So I think here also, if we are able to promote this kind of environment of this personal ethics and this one, no, honesty and morality, I think it will be helpful more. Juran, is it okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, it's okay.
Next question to ma'am HOD from Rupam. This is very interesting question. His question is: less paid salary could be one of the reasons of corruption.
I'm not clear with the question, Joy.
His question is less paid salary could be one of the reasons of corruption?
Okay. Yeah, it is an interesting question, but it has got a lot of depth in it. This question has got a lot of depth in it. You know why people, I'll just shorten it because we are exceeding the time limit. That could be one reason, just one reason, a minute reason. But otherwise, why people take bribe is one thing is their desires and greed. Desire and greed. I want this. It is more than their need, it is their want. They want to satisfy their want, not their need. Then other one is that complicated taxes and licensing systems. We have a very complicated system in the country. Then lack of competitive free markets. We don't have a competitive free markets. And at the same time, monopoly offers certain goods and services. And these can be provided by government-controlled institutions and bureaucracy. Then lack of penalties. Why people get away with it? Because lack of penalty, there is no penalty. Even if you catch someone with red-handed, also they get away with it because they see, for example, you pay me something. Okay, you come to me, Amlan, you come to me for somebody's admission. I'll say, okay, Amlan, you send your candidate with 1 lakh rupees. Maybe Father Benny won't even know, okay, that I have taken rupees 1 lakh from you, and then the candidate must have got the admission with his own eligibility. But the principal won't even know that I have taken this much money from you. Now, another thing is that, say, for example, now I made a deal. Okay, I made a deal with somebody. You take 50, you take 50. So the deal is done. somewhere the compromises are made.
Yes.
That is why the corruption is increasing. It's not just because of low salary or anything. It is to satisfy that the desires and wants and their lust and all those things, their luxury life and all those things are included in it. The question is very good. So I think it is clear. Amlan, anything more?
Thank you, ma'am. Next
Okay.
question to Sister Pratima. from,
Joy, little, hurry
Amlan.
up, please. Please hurry
Yeah,
up. Yes.
from Amlan also. Sister said that education can help you to get out of the situations. But as we all know that every government officials are very educated, but still they are doing this. So how you will justify your statement? Sister Pratima, please. Please put on your audio.
Yeah, we know that all of our government officials are highly educated, and they also know that what is corruption and how they should work it. But thing is that if the citizens are not vigilant about their work, we are all encouraging them to do this work. So I feel that if the citizens are not aware of their rights and if they don't keep constant vigilant, the corruption will creep in on. Like already ma'am Tomina has explained why the state called Kerala, it's according to the study, it is found less corruption. Why? Because all are aware, all are educated, and they know their rights. So if they know their rights, so the citizens can have constant vigilance on them, then corruption will be reduced. Though they are educated, they know their rights, but it is our duty to remind them, so that corruption will be less.
So,
Thank you, sister. Thank you, sister. Next question from Naresh Dev Burma.
Joy, can we have this as the last question because we're already running short of time?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This is the last questions from Naresh Dev Burma to Sir Sarojit. If possible, to do the corruption free. Sir Sarojit, please.
Thank you, Naresh. It is a good question, and yes, obviously it is possible to do corruption free. By some points I have mentioned, that is, we promote transparency, access to information. Okay, and we give free audit on section. And another point I can mention, that is, we need good leader. That is, Ma'am Sukarna has said, that is, we need good leaders to control, to rule all over India, all over country. And for the most important, we are the people, the power of people. Obviously, we should aware, the people should aware. And Ma'am Tomina has mentioned, that is, and I have given one example in Kerala. Sister Pratima also says, Ma'am, in Kerala, in 5 years, the government changed. And see, if the government cannot rule properly and some corruption or some this kind of activity increase day by day, then what will happen? It is our duty, means it is the duty of people to citizens to change this government, and we should we should give a chance to good governments, and they will control, and obviously we will come from this corruptions. Okay, so shortly I have mentioned, I have explained. So I will clear, Naresh.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We have already finished our question and answer session. Thanks to all of you. Over to Ma'am Tapaswi.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Sir Joy, for reading out the questions. We come to the end of a wonderful session. I know it is very debatable and we can debate right up to the end of the day. But if we don't, keep to our time, again, someone will say it is a corruption of time because we have used more than what was there. So, and we are talking about corruption only. So thank you. Before I end, this is just, I wouldn't say it is a question. It is a food for thought we can all think on it, that the corruption is there, as we have seen in all spheres of life. And everyone has mentioned the spheres, and everyone has talked about we've learned about the anti-corruption laws, and every year we are getting new laws coming up. We have heard about how to, we heard about ethics, how we as people can, try to help in overcoming the corruption. My point is, or let it be a food for thought, that even we know corruption is there, we know our voters' right, we know everything. Yet, along with the anti-corruption laws, why is it that the corruption is increasing, not decreasing? That is something we need to think about. And today, at the end of the session, I would thank our principal, Father Benny John, for making it possible to have such a lively session for it. And obviously, the biggest thanks goes to NCT for making us do a program like this. Though Father Shaji is not there, but I know his whole support is there with us. So thank you so much, Father. I thank all the invited speakers for giving a good talk on it, Dr. Tomina, Dr. Shukanna, and Sir Sharajit. I thank Sir Joy for doing all the technical part, along with Sir Jinesh from the college. And I should say, last but not the least, thank you so much, dear students, for really, really taking part in a wonderful session. I wish we could have the whole day for keeping on and on debating and coming maybe to a solution. But anyway, we always are running short of time always. So thank you so much, and have a good day. Stay safe, and try to see that, in our near society or in the vicinity of where we live, if we can decrease corruption a little bit, one step at a time, I think we will move towards a better tomorrow, a new world where we will live a little more peacefully. Thank you so much.
Father?
Thank you. Thank you all. I think good day.
Father,
Hello.
I want to just a group photo. Take out a group photo, please. Please put on your camera, all of you.
Put on your camera and put on your best smile, maybe. Okay. Where are the others? No.
I think Joy's screen is big. He can see some more people.
Yeah. You use your screen. Where are the students? Okay, I'm good.
Joy, sit down.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's done.
Thank you.
Done?